Hello and welcome to today's session. Okay, so today we are still exploring the IELTS reading test, and today I will give you tips on how to deal with the most difficult question types in the IELTS reading test. I mentioned or remember in my previous videos, I've talked about the questions in the IELTS reading test, and I mentioned that there are a variety of question types. The whole test has 40 questions. And in these questions, a variety of question types are tested. So today I want to discuss only three types of questions which are very common in most test takers when it comes to the level of difficulty. Okay, so I've only identified three, and these are very common in most of the test takers. So these are the the question types that I'm going to discuss, and the best way to deal with them when you are doing that IELTS reading test, or as you are preparing to do the test. All right. So just like I've mentioned, the entire test has 40 questions and a variety are tested. So today, to start with, the first question type that is very, very common to many majority of test takers, which they find challenging, is the question type, where you are required to identify information, identification of information. And this test type may either require you to give an answer in this format. Either you choose either or say if it's true, if it's false, or not given. So this is one way you'll find that question framed, or it could be yes, no, or not given. So in either of these question formats, you are required to identify information. Okay, so if you feel or when you are supposed to choose if the answer is true, okay, this is when you find the information in the text that agrees with the statement in the question. So if the information in the text or passage or the article that you're reading agrees with the statement in the question that you are trying to answer, if it agrees, this is when you'll choose your answer will be true or agree. So it could be you are required to either write true, false, not given, or agree, disagree, or not given. So if the statement agrees with the statement in the question agrees with what the information in the text that you've just maybe read or you are reading, then this is when you choose true as your answer. When do you choose false? All right. You choose false when the information in the text contradicts the statement in the question. Okay, the information, there is such a kind of information which you are reading in the question. That information, yes, I read it somewhere in the text, but when you are reading it in the text, it is not the same way as it appears in the question. Number 3, or option 3, is not given. This is actually where people find problems, especially deciding whether the statement is, I'm supposed to write false or disagree or not given. What is the difference between false or disagree and not given? Okay, you only choose the not given option if, okay, you do not have any information that is stated in the question, in the text. Whatever information that you see in that in the statement, if that information is not provided anywhere in the text, this is when you give your answer to be not given, because that whatever information is that you are asked about is not given anywhere in the text that you're reading. So the difference between false and not given: false, yes, this information that is provided here in the question, I read such a thing, or I'm reading, or I can see such a thing in the text that I'm reading, but the information is not the way it is framed here. It contradicts. All right. To emphasize on this, or maybe to make this easier to understand, I want us to go through an example. All right. Let's read. I'll take you through this reading text. So assume this is a text that you've been given, and then you'll be asked to, the questions to choose to say if the statements are true, if they are false, or they are not given. All right. Mr. Farrell, a a respected professor at the university, walked into the room in a huff that day, dressed in a pair of dark trousers, light-colored shirt, and red tie. His dapper appearance seemed to be in total contrast with the foul mood he was in. Mr. Farrell, a respected professor at the university, walked into the room in a huff that day, dressed in a pair of dark trousers, light-colored shirt, and red tie. Okay, so like I mentioned when the last session when I was talking about understanding the IELTS and how to go about reading the texts in different sections, as you're reading, remember you are supposed to highlight any keywords. All right, like in this case, we are talking about a professor, of course, Mr. Farrell. All right, and of course, he walked into the room in a huff that day. Just underline whichever information that any keywords that are going, the manner in which he walked to the room in a huff. Okay, dressed in a pair of dark trousers. All right, we are going to underline the dark trousers. This is how he was dressed. All right, light colored shirt, of course, and a red tie. So we are going to underline all these, either highlight or underline. So in this case, I'm highlighting. Okay, his dapper appearance seemed to be in total contrast with the foul mood he was in. Of course, now here we are talking about the mood. Okay, so Now we've highlighted or underlined the keywords in this text. So let's move to the question. Do the following statements agree with the information given in the reading text? Write true if the statement agrees with the information given in the text. False if the statement contradicts the information given in the text. And not given if there is no information on this. So question number 1. The professor was wearing a black jacket. This takes us back to, since we've already highlighted or underlined, it's easier for us to go straight to the sentence that is talking about how the professor was dressed. So we just come straight here and we read he was dressed in a pair of dark trousers, light colored shirt, and red tie. So this is the only information that is given here. Are we given any information about the jacket? Because here, as you are reading the questions, remember also you are supposed to highlight or underline the keywords. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the jacket that the professor was wearing. But when you go back to the text, there is nothing like a jacket that is mentioned here. So straight up, straight away, this tells you, or the answer to this question number 1 is not given. Not given, right? Because that information is not given. We don't know anything about the professor's jacket. All right. So question number 2. All right. Question number 2. The professor was wearing a blue tie. Still back to the same sentence where they're talking about, the text is talking about the dress code. Are we told anything about the tie? Yes, absolutely. Is the tie, and here, of course, in the question, the main or the main term here, the keyword here is the tie. So we are looking for information about the tie, and in the text we are told he was wearing a red tie. He was wearing a red tie, not a blue tie. So just like I said, when information that you're looking for, it's yes, we have that information, but it contradicts what was given or what is given in the text. Just like number 2, the tie, information about the tie is given in the text, but the color contradicts the color that is given in the text. So the answer to number 2 is false. False is the answer to number 2 because the statement is there, but it contradicts the information given in the text. Let's look at number 3. The professor was wearing a pastel shirt. Okay. The key word here in this question is shirt. So we are going to look for shirt and see the description we are given about the shirt. Did we read anything about the shirt in the text? Yes, we did. The professor was wearing a light-colored shirt. This is what we are told about the shirt. I want to underline it. Yes, the light-colored shirt. Again, but in the question, we are seeing a totally different name. It's a different name which we did not read in the text. But again, like I said, I explained in my previous video, the reading test, just like the listening test, it uses a lot of synonyms. The use of synonyms is quite used. So you really need to practice on your vocabulary, So if the light colored, this the vocabulary here, pastel, this refers to light colored clothes, light colors, and here we have the light colored shirt. So if you knew about the name or the meaning of this word here, of course you will definitely know that, or say that yes, the statement in the question number 3 describes or agrees with the same information that is provided in the text. So the answer to question number 3 is true. All right. So basically, this is how you are supposed to deal with the questions that require you to identify information, either to say if the statement is true, or it might be requiring you to say if you agree with the statement. So this is where you say yes, no, or not given. But in this case, we were asked to say true, false, or not given. These are the answers that you are choosing from. So choose true if the statement agrees with the information given in the text. Just like number 3, the professor was wearing a pastel or a white colored shirt. This is the information we are given in the text. The only difference is they used a synonym. They used a name that describes the same thing, but that is the information that we are given. Choose false if the statement contradicts the information given in the text. Like in question 2, yes, we are given information about the tie, but the information here does not agree with the same information that we read in the text. Or you choose not given if such information does not appear anywhere in the text. All right. So this is how to deal with the identification of information question types in the IELTS reading test. The second question type that confuses people or challenges most test takers is the matching of headings to paragraphs type of questions. In this type of questions, you are given a set of headings or a list of headings, all right? And then you are given about 6 to 8 paragraphs. And what you are required to do is to identify the right heading for each paragraph, all right? And in most cases, the list of the headings that you are given, they are more than the number of the paragraphs. For instance, you might be given about 10 headings. You might be given about 10 headings versus 6 to 8 paragraphs. So you are supposed to identify the right heading for each paragraph. Let's look at an example here. Elephants are gigantic creatures that can grow over 12 feet tall and weigh as much as 7 tons. They are herbivorous, feasting on vegetation such as leaves, twigs, roots, and grass. However, the quantities consumed are huge, and understandably so. An adult elephant needs about 150 kilos of food a day to survive. These large mammals may be broadly classified into two species: the African elephant and the Asian elephant. Though the African variety is slightly larger and wrinklier than its Asian counterpart, both are mammoth and possess brute strength. Their trunk, for example, can withstand weights of approximately 300 kilos. So this is the text that we are going to use as an example. So choose the correct heading for this paragraph from the list of headings below. So this is the list that we have here. Number one, why we are trying to choose the best heading of the three for this text that we've read. Option one, why African elephants are superior to their Asian cousins. Okay. Option number two, the might of elephants. And option number three, or heading number three, a varied diet and its benefits. So we are required to choose the best heading for this text here. One thing that you need to know about this type of question types: what are you tested, or which skill is tested here? It is your ability to identify the main theme of in each paragraph. Remember, when you are reading a passage or an article or a text, a long text, each paragraph contains a theme. There's always a main theme in each paragraph. All right. So your ability, the skill that is tested here, is your ability to identify the main theme in the text or in the paragraph or in each of the paragraphs that you're given. So you need to be in a position to identify or to know or differentiate between the main theme or the main point in that paragraph and the supporting points. All right, we have in any paragraph, we have the main theme, we also have the supporting points. All right, so like for example, in this, if we go through each one of these headings: why African elephants are superior to their Asian cousins. Okay, we want to see if this could be the right heading for this text. Yes, we know that something about African elephants has been mentioned in this text, but is this the main theme of this text? Let's read here, because the mammals, where is this? This African elephants was mentioned here when the text was talking about the classification of or the different types of the elephants. So this is this information here cannot be the main theme of this text. This can only be a supporting idea. It's just one. It's one point. It's a supporting point within this whole text. The classification, it's just one. It's a minor or a supporting point. All right. So number one, it cannot be the heading of this text. Number two, the might of elephants. This whole text is talking about the elephants. It's talking about their size, their weight, what they can do, their diet, what they eat, all right, and all that, all this information. So this text is all about the elephants. So number two, yes, this is one possible, because I really want us to go through all the options. This is one possible best heading of this, for this text. Let's look at number 3, a varied diet and its benefits. Of course, yes, we've read something about the diet, all right? The diet, somewhere it described what they eat. But is this the main theme of the text? Or absolutely not, because the eating or the diet, it only forms part of the information that we are given about the elephants. So our answer here is option 2, or number 2, the might of elephants. That is the main theme of this text. So this is the best way, or the easiest way, to identify the main theme of a paragraph, because like I said, in this type of questions, you are given a long text which has between 6 to 8 paragraphs and a set of headings. So you are supposed to match this paragraph 1, choose a heading from the list of headings that you are given. Paragraph 2, the same. 3, the same, up to the last paragraph. All right. And most importantly, know the question requires, or it checks the test taker's ability to differentiate main ideas from supporting ones. So you must learn to identify the main theme in a paragraph. That is the skill that is tested. By choosing a heading, that is one more thing to know. Make sure the keywords in it agree with the information in the paragraphs. All right. So already we've just gone through this. Number 2, option 2 is the answer, and option 1 and option 3, they are not the correct answers, because the two, option 1 and 3, those are supporting points. They are not the main points. Okay. All right. The third question type that is also challenging to most test takers, the multiple choice questions. The multiple choice questions, this is where you are required to choose the best answer from a list of alternatives. It could be A, B, C, or A, B, C, D. So whichever options that you're given, you are required to choose one best answer from the alternatives that you're given. Again, I will take you through an example for us to understand better. All right, so Kathakali, a dance form that originated in the South Indian state of Kerala, is a visual treat, particularly to the discerning eye. As usual, underline the keywords, all right? As you are reading, I might end here trying to highlight. So underline the keywords. Of course, we are talking about this type of a dance, Kathakali, all right? And it is a visual treat. This is also very important. This is a keyword here to underline, particularly to the discerning eye. We need to underline this. It's very important. Okay, it's a very key description here. A typical play entails, this is very important, a typical play, underline the keywords. It entails dancers who wear vibrant costumes. So they wear vibrant costumes and elaborate makeup. bringing to life characters from various Indian epics, while supported by musicians and vocalists. Supported by musicians and vocalists. Very important key words here. In doing so, they create the perfect blend of a dance. Perfect blend, all right? This is a key word here of a dance. Music and acting. Okay. Artists typically make use of various body parts while executing the Kali movements, most of which are adopted from ancient martial arts forms. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. So the question is, okay, choose the correct letter. This is very important. Choose the correct letter. A, B, C, or D. Very important here before we move. There is this mistake that some test takers make. If the question, you look at the instructions, remember in my last video I said reading of instructions is very key. The instructions here say this is what we are supposed to do. Choose the correct letter. So what some students or test takers do, instead they write the word or the words or the information. For instance, if the answer to this question is A, some students or test takers make a mistake of writing the whole sentence, or it could be a word, just one word that is, against this letter as their answer. Even if that was the correct answer, but if you made that mistake, instead of writing the letter A, instead you went ahead and did the whole sentence or wrote the word that is, against that letter, you lose your point. Remember, like I said, in reading test, just like in the IELTS listening test, one question carries 1 point. You lose one question, you've lost one whole point. So if the instructions were that you choose the correct letter, write a letter. Do not write the word. Don't write the whole sentence. All right? So in this case, we are either going to choose A, B, C, or D. We are not going to write the full sentence. So which of the following is mentioned in the paragraph? Option A, people with a good understanding of dance find Kathakali more enjoyable. Okay. Colorful dresses are a part of only some Kathakali performances. Again, like I said, as you read through the options, also note the keywords. People with a good understanding, okay? Good understanding. So we want to check if we have anything, if we read anything like that in the text of the dance, find Kathakali more enjoyable. Also here, the key word is enjoyable. So we are going to check if there is anything like that mentioned in the text. Number two, colorful dresses. Of course, this is very key. We are going to check if such a thing was mentioned, are a part of only some. We need to check. What did they say? If we have anything mentioned about the colorful dresses, what did they say about the colorful dresses? Does it apply to only some, or does it apply to all? Okay. Number option C, music is a more integral part of the Kathakali than dance. So we need to check what they said. We need to check, in this case, we need to underline, or in fact, we are looking at music, what they said about music, and what they said about dance, in as far as this Kathakali movement is concerned, type of music of dance is concerned. And then there is also here now this introduction of this word here, integral part. We need to check what is said about the components, or what comprises of this Kathakali dance. And lastly, option D, Kathakali has influenced arts of olden times. We need to know what is said. We are going to look at what is said about, the influence, all right? And also, if anything is talked, if said about the olden times. All right. So let's go and look at each and every of these sections. And just to mention, these are the tips to answer this type of question. First of all, begin by understanding what the question is asking. All right. You need to understand what the question is asking. And there are two ways. There are two ways that you can find the correct answer to these type of questions. All right. The first, which most test takers or students find the easiest, but it all depends. Each person is different. Whatever someone finds easy might not be the same case with another. So option one. So here I called it the easiest way because that is what the most students find, is by checking if an alternative appears in the text in a different form. So this is when now you are trying to figure out if there are any paraphrasing that has been done, or any use of synonyms. Okay, so that is why I said, the reason why I said whatever that could be easier for other people, it might not be the same case with the others, because when we talk about the use of synonyms, it may be a challenge if your vocabulary library is not so equipped compared to the rest. So not to worry if that is where you fall, if your vocabulary collection of vocabulary is not so detailed, then I will give you the second option, the second way that you can find the answers. All right. So let's look at this option, the first option. Of course, going back to the question, I just want to mention the correct answer to this question is A. All right. Which of the following is mentioned in the paragraph? A is the correct answer, but we are going to go through all this for you to understand how this came about, or how you are supposed to identify the correct answer. All right. Option A, it said, people with a good understanding of the dance find Kathakali more enjoyable. And in the text, I've made it easier. I've transferred that specific area where the answer is, so that we can move, together, instead of going back and forth to the question and the text. In the text, this is what it said. Kathakali is a visual treat, particularly to the discerning eye. If you look at this answer, there is a lot of, either paraphrasing or use of synonym. Okay. The the words that are in bold here, a good understanding of the dance. All right. But when you come to the text, we read something about discerning. So here, it's all about how good your vocabulary, collection of vocabulary is. Because when you're talking about discerning eye, this is, a person who is in a position to identify something that is good enough or something that is bad. You're able to to identify and know or differentiate between something that maybe you are watching, something good, and you can easily say, oh, this is good, or this is. So if you have that ability to do, that is another way that you can describe like a good understanding of dance. Okay, so for people with a good understanding of dance, this is another way of saying discerning eye. People who are in a position to determine if whatever they are watching is good or of good value or bad, or people who have a better understanding of whatever it is that they are watching. All right. So, yes, this, but remember, if you did not understand the meaning of this word here, of course, there is no way you are going to figure it out this way. So that is the other option. The other way will sort you out. All right. So it's always good to try and see, figure out if you can manage either ways. Okay. If this one doesn't work for you, you can always apply the other option. So yes, and then now this also here in the text we read that this dance, it's a visual treat, and up here in the answer option A, they are talking about more enjoyable. Of course, if something is described as a visual treat, this has to do with something that is fun, something that is enjoyable to watch or to see. So that makes option A to be the correct answer. Kathakali, people with a good understanding of the dance find Kathakali more enjoyable because in the text we are told Kathakali is a visual treat, particularly to the discerning eye. All right. So, like I said, sometimes spotting a paraphrase may be quite difficult to other people, or understanding or figuring out a synonym or spotting a synonym. Okay, especially if your vocabulary is limited. So, what do you do in this case? Taking an indirect approach works better if you find yourself in this position. And what you do, use the elimination method. Elimination method. This is where, okay, you go through all the answers. You see, now we were given the four options that we have, A, B, C, and D. Read through all the answers. Read option A and check if the information there agrees with whatever information that you read. Then if not, just put a star, like an X. Okay, remember in the question paper, you can mark it whichever way you want. All right. So spot this works by spotting contradictions or differences in what the text says and what the option or the alternative that you are reading says. If it contradicts, put an X. Move to the next option, read. If it doesn't agree with what the text says, put an X. For example, if you are given 5 options or alternatives to choose from, put an X to whatever that contradicts. For example, if you put an X to 3, already you've eliminated those 3 and you've remained with 2. it is easier for you to now figure out, go back and read the text, come back to the question, check if there are any synonyms and all that. It is easier for you to choose the correct answer from 2 options remaining than choosing from a whole 5, a whole list of 5. Okay, so let's briefly see how this can happen. Already, okay, we've identified option A as the correct answer, but let's go through the other options and see. Option number B, it says colorful dresses are a part of only some Kathakali performances. And in the text, it was written, a typical play entails dancers who wear vibrant costumes and elaborate makeup. Colorful dresses and vibrant costumes, this describes one and the same thing. So again, the use of synonyms. All right. And so yes, there is something that is talked about, the colorful dresses or the vibrant costumes. They are a part of only some. Remember, we underlined that in the text, but here the text said a typical play. That means it doesn't say if it's part of some or whatever. The answer here, it's only talking about only some, meaning not all. But in the text, it says a typical play. So it cannot be only some. Okay, so the vibrant costumes and elaborate makeup describes these Kathakali dance or performances. So automatically, this part here, only some, disqualifies this answer to be the correct answer. So option number B, elimination method, already we've put an X to it. It will not be an answer to that question. Let's look at C. Music is a more integral part of Kathakali than dance. But the text said, while supported by musicians and vocalists. So the same case here. They are only in this option, it's only picking out music as the only, or as the part that is more integral to this dance. But in the text, we actually read that they both play the same role. Like there's a place if you continued reading that text, it says that they blend. Actually, it's like they come together. They come in and blend. They blend to bring out the best of this dance. So number C, because of this picking out on only music as the more integral part, there is nothing. All of them, they play the same role, like they blend, they come and blend, they form part of this, the part of the fun. All right. So again, elimination method. Option number C, we put an X to it. It will not be any of the answers. So that is the wrong. Let's look at option number D. Kathakali has influenced arts of olden times. And in the text, they said Kathakali movements, most of which are adopted from ancient martial art forms. And this is the determinant. This is what we are looking at. What did the text say? They are adopted from, but they do not influence. It does not influence the arts of olden times. So the information is there, yes, but it contradicts the truth. It contradicts the information that is given in the text. And this also makes us put an X to option D. So it takes us back to option A as the correct answer. So you can either use any of the two ways to identify the correct answer. This is when you're dealing with the multiple choice questions. You use the elimination process. Go through all the options and eliminate. This eliminate, there are those answers, options that are quite obvious. And you can see this is contradicting. Eliminate, eliminate. And remain with, you might eliminate and just straight up you remain with just one option. And then confirm if the words, everything that is in that statement agrees with the information provided in the text before you take it as your final correct answer. All right. And one thing you need to remember, at a glance, like when you look at all these options that are given in this type of questions, all the answers, all the options, they may look as though they are either one, either two or three of them are correct. All right. So what you need to do, you need to always read very closely to identify any contradictory information. All right. So that is all about how to deal with difficult questions in the IELTS reading test, and the three test types, question types that I discussed today. These are commonly, like they go like the majority of the test takers. These are the types of questions that they find challenging, most challenging. Multiple choice questions, and identification of information, where you are supposed to say whether the statement agrees, disagrees, or not given, or yes, no, or not given. Agree, disagree, not given. True, actually, yeah, there's another. Agree, disagree, not given. Sorry. True, false, not given. And yes, no, not given. So these are the different ways that you'll be required to answer those type of questions where you are supposed to identify information. All right. And of course, the matching of headlines, where you are provided with a text which has between 6 to 8 paragraphs and a set of headings, about 10 or so headings, and you're supposed to match the headings to the paragraphs. All right, so that is all for today. Until next time.